Everything you need is already inside of you. The world would not be what it is without you. When we begin to create change within us, we begin to create change in the world around us. Your journey to becoming your best self as the whole person starts right now.
Welcome to the podcast, Become Your Best webinar and podcast series. I'm Lauren Sweeney and I'm your host, and we're excited to have our special guest with us today. Let me tell you a little bit about him and then I'll bring him on our stage. Well, he describes himself as compassionate, having honesty, being friendly and enthusiastic, and that is definitely true. Dr. Cory Singer is a chiropractor, and he is really focused and concerned in the well-being of every individual that he cares for. He loves to impact people, make a difference. In fact, he loves to make sure that your nervous system is working properly, that your body has the nutrients that it needs, that it's free of toxins, and that we maintain healthy thoughts, which of course we believe in at Rise Up For You, thoughts and our beliefs. He is excited to be here with you today, and he's made it his goal in life to help people overcome adversity and realize the great healing potential that is inside of each one of us. He maintains a healthy, active lifestyle, and when he's not caring for his patients, he loves to spend time with his wife, his son, and his family. He also likes basketball, working out, cooking, and spending time to eat healthy and find delicious new ways of working. Well, Dr. Singer, I'm excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I love this idea of this holistic health and the nervous system's impact on it and our mental health. And we've seen so many changes. I'm sure you've seen that in the last 18 months. What are you most passionate about right now in terms of people having overall just vitality?
Well, yeah, I think with the whole pandemic and everything, people are really focusing on health right nowadays. And I think it's really important that people just realize that they have the ability, and people are understanding that it's important to take care of your bodies, right? The people that are surviving, any illness, but, this illness in particular are the healthiest people, right? So making sure that your body's healthy, strong, working on that internal mask, as I like to call it, right? So that's where I'm really passionate about that.
Talk to me more about the internal mask. What does that look like? Everything being aligned, having sort of a fulfillment in all the areas? Talk to me more about that.
Yeah, it's a good, great question. So I'm just talking about, in particular your immune system, but there's a lot of different factors in your life that affect how your body heals and your immune system strength and your body strength as a whole, right? Whether it be, we talk about physical health, chemical health, or emotional health, all of those things play a role in your body's ability to heal itself. So, if you're getting, do you want me to expand upon that, or is that enough for you?
Yeah, I think that's great. What if somebody's listening and they're thinking, well, that sounds good, but, Dr. Singer, I'm like way off the deep end. Or maybe, I feel pretty good, but I don't know what the next level looks like, or I really don't know even where to start. Let's start there.
Yeah. So, for somebody that's completely, not healthy at all, obviously it's going to go into just starting with the basics, right? Just getting into the very core foundational kind of stuff and starting small. I believe in building habits up little at a time, not trying to make, big drastic changes right away. You start with, the first step. Always start with the first step, what that is for you. So, if you look at the wheel of health, you could look at, and you could also try to find out what do you feel is your weakest point, based upon your own health situation. So if you're very unhealthy, maybe it's starting with diet and kind of looking at that part of your life and just seeing, okay, what are little things I could do today that, if I just make these small changes, it's going to make a big difference, right? Just something as simple as maybe getting rid of the soda that you're drinking on a daily basis. Just that alone can make a huge drastic impact on your weight, your health, you name it, right? But if you're somebody that's been studying health for a long period of time, you've done a lot of changes, it's kind of, now you're starting to get into what's called the biohacking realm of things where you're looking at, okay, what are these little tweaks I can make to make my energy just a little bit better? Because obviously the quality of your energy really changes and alters the quality of your life.
I love that. I am pretty into biohacking, like sleep hacks or a nutrition tip. I know in talking with you that there's different things that you can even do in terms of testing, is the body deficient in certain nutrients? And we
Right.
are not, health coaches here at Rise Up For You. And that's why we like to bring in some experts. But what do you think somebody should do? They could go see somebody like you and actually test, hey, where am I deficient? What are some common mistakes that you see people making when they're trying to, fix their health for the better?
Yeah, so I guess I could just talk to you about the approach that we take here at our office. So the first thing that we look at is, we're looking at the different levels or the different areas of health, where there's the big category of physical health, there's chemical health, and then there's emotional health, right? So there's the three categories. So in terms of physical, in our office, what we do is we evaluate the body. We see how it's operating, how it's functioning. And that goes into just simple like orthopedic tests, alignment assessments. We're looking at the spine, we're taking x-rays and kind of seeing what your spinal health actually looks like. And then to correct that, we're looking at different adjustment plans or chiropractic adjustment plans to fix that part. Or if it's core strength you need to work on, we give you exercises to do there. Pretty much it's always tailored to that specific person, what that person needs. So if it's core strength that they need to work on, if it's different types of exercises that provide traction for the spine, there's different things that we're looking at to make sure that the nervous system, the structure of your system, which means your spine and your muscles and your ligaments, make sure that area is doing what it's supposed to do. That's physical health. In the terms of chemical health, we're looking at what you're putting into your body, right? You're looking at, the foods that you're eating, the drinks that you're drinking, the environment that you're surrounding yourself in, because if you're exposed to certain toxins or chemicals in your environment, that affects your health. And then to figure out like, okay, well, you can make broad categorizations, right? So hey, you make sure you eat this thing, or make sure you're not putting this type of stuff into your body, and we can go into all the different types of toxins and things that are good for it and things that are bad for it. A lot of it's education for the person. And then, but to figure out specifics, we could do blood work, urinalysis, hair sampling, and you can get full, the type of stuff that we use in our office is called science-based nutrition. So what it does is you're figuring out specifically what the body is deficient in and what kind of things like nutrients that it actually needs, as well as on the flip side of it, what kind of toxins is the body being exposed to. So you could do chelation tests where you're finding out specifics in specific metals, things like mercury, aluminum, things like that we're exposed to on a daily basis, and see, is your body clearing it out? Is it not clearing it out? And then you could give specifics on what kind of nutrition that person needs, not only just dietary, but also supplementation, because our food supply is so deficient in nutrients and minerals. We're exposed to toxins on a daily basis. So we need to be able to clear that stuff out of the system. And then when it comes to emotional stuff, right, if we're getting into the emotional aspect of things, I'm giving people gratitude journals to work with. Simple things like that can also make a big difference. Like the way that you're looking at your life emotionally really makes a big difference when it comes to your overall health. And then if it comes down to like, hey, let's say this person has some like emotional trauma in the past, we're working with different modalities to be able to help that person go through that experience or get rid of that experience in their nervous system. So that's what we're taking, kind of like a 3-branched approach to the health, and that's why we're getting the results that we're getting. So it's cool.
Wow. What are some of the neat things that you've seen enabled by being able to treat people, from a holistic perspective, nutrition, the nervous system, their mental health? What are tell me a few like cool success stories, of course, not telling me their names or anything.
I could give some examples like where people are having massive problems with their digest, like, because everybody knows chiropractic is really good for the neck pain and the shoulder problem and the lower back pain. Everybody knows chiropractic is good for that, but chiropractic can also be good for, and I consider myself the chiropractic philosophy is entailing all this. I just feel like I'm just calling myself a wellness chiropractor because I would say I specialize in it. But chiropractors have always been involved in the healthy lifestyle and talking about that. But if you're giving like specific examples, like we're good with the shoulders and all that stuff, but also we take care of people with digestive problems, right? Constipations, diarrheas, balancing out that part of their nervous system to be able to affect their gut health. People that were infertile, right? Not able to get pregnant. We're giving the adjustments, doing the right stuff and health, allowing them to conceive. I mean, that's one of the coolest things I like. If I could say like one of the coolest things that I'm able to help people with, and obviously I can't say, oh, I have the cure for XYZ disease. I'm not trying to cure specific things. All I'm trying to do is balance out the body, give it what it needs so that it can function the way that it's supposed to, right? And we take kind of a different approach than the medical system, where it's a pill for this, it's a pill for that, to kind of mask symptoms. And obviously that there's a complete role for that. Medicine saved and has saved and will continue to save thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. But when we're talking about maintaining and optimizing health, that's where we focus on in our office here. I think I got on a little tangent there, but does that answer your question?
Yeah. Talking about digestive health, infertility, different things like that.
Yeah.
What if somebody is listening and they have felt increased stress recently? There's a lot of things going on personally and in our communities, in the world and in the country. What would you recommend would be a good starting point? Because stress affects the nervous system, affects digestion, probably, all kinds of things in the body. Where would we start with that?
Well, I think there's a lot of answers to that question when you're talking about, stress management. Things that I've found very helpful recently, because I'm obviously going through that same stuff. Things that have helped me, and things that I tell people about is, number one, I whether you believe in a higher power or not, having some sort of belief that everything is happening as it's supposed to. Just having that mindset or that belief kind of gives me, solace, right? It gives me just like, okay, things are actually happening like they're supposed to. There's plenty of times in life where there's a problem or some sort of catastrophe that happens, and turns out, you fast forward 10 years down the line, you look back on that thing and say, wow, that was the worst time, but I'm so happy I went through that, right? I'm so happy that happened to me because, I gained this insight or this knowledge or whatever. And I think that's a powerful way to look at life. Believing that struggle there's always beauty in struggle, right? If you're just looking at like, there's challenges that we go through, having the belief that, look, there's struggle in life. You're going to go through those struggles, but there's beauty in it, right? There's a beauty in struggle. There's growth that happens through struggle. And an analogy I like to give for this is, you look at a butterfly, right? A caterpillar, and it cocoons itself, and it has to struggle and fight to get out of the cocoon. And that, if you went in and you're like, hey, I want to help out this little caterpillar turning into a butterfly, if you just open up the cocoon for it, guess what? When the butterfly comes out, it can't fly. It's not going to be able to work the way it's supposed to. So you have to go through these struggles and these challenges, and just having that mindset is a big kind of switch that anybody can make at any time, which will help them look at life in a different way and look at the struggle. I'm not trying to say, hey, don't look at struggle. Like, oh, hey, let's all just be positive all the time and everything's peachy all the time. That's not I don't think that's the right way to approach life. See things as they are, not worse than they are, not better than they are. Just get yourself in a good position where you're seeing things. This is what's happening. This is the situation. And then instead of focusing on woe is me, I'm a victim in this whole thing. I am, whatever, right? Having that kind of like victim mentality. Obviously bad things happen to everything, but that's not going to help your situation. Getting into a mindset where you're saying, okay, what can I do about what's happening? Make a plan, create the whatever that plan is for your next steps, and then start acting on that plan immediately, right? So having that attitude, I think a lot of this is just mindset. Then we can go into the simple things, right? Like finding, a day, focusing on gratitude, like I talked about. Like you can't be stressed out and thankful at the same time. It just doesn't work. So your mind doesn't work in that way. There are two parts of your nervous system, right? Those two mentalities. So having the mentality of, hey, just every day focusing on what can I be grateful for in this moment. I don't know if you've ever read the book Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, right?
Yeah.
Right. Guy, a man that was in concentration camp in Auschwitz, and he went through arguably one of the most horrific things that any person can go through ever. And he found meaning inside of that whole situation. And he said, hey, I'm going to go through this experience, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to use this experience to help and enrich other people in their lives. So just, having that little mindset of, what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? Think about those things on a regular basis. You could start counting them up literally every day. You could start growing your list a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger. And so eventually you're developing the habit of, what am I thankful for in life? And that can make a big difference in just the way your overall attitude. It creates a different lens that you see the world through.
That's what I was going to say. I start to look for it. When I'm looking for what's wrong, I keep finding more of it usually. Mm-hmm. But when I'm intentionally like, gosh, I'm so grateful that, my kids woke up healthy today and they can go to school. I'm so grateful I woke up healthy. Like when we start to look for it, we do find more of what we're looking for. And that helps us personally, professionally. I love that. And I know that you have a YouTube channel too. Talk to me a little bit about that. And if you're listening, perhaps you're driving or listening to the podcast, it's just youtube.com, and it's Singer Chiropractic. It's SINGER. Talk to me about what they can find there.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. So it's full of just really good information, right? So I have, different topics, like we talked about these biohacks. What was happening is I was getting questions from people in my practice, like, hey, what can I do about diabetes? Or what can I do about blood pressure issues? Or what can I do about, my sleep? I can't sleep, so obviously a lot of this comes down to education. So on the YouTube channel, I just started creating videos of, okay, this is what, hour long deep dive into, like, okay, what can you do about your blood pressure issues? What can you do? Like, and I talk about the different factors of life, right? Physical, chemical, and emotional. I talk about those different areas and how it relates to that specific disease, along with what specific nutrients you want to be consuming, what kind of, because every problem has its its causative factors. So we want to show what those things are so you can get and correct that. So I have a lot of stuff on that, right? And then on top of that, I just created, so, people are coming in with, I also give out for the structural type of stuff, like, like different stretches for the shoulders and the neck and the back, and how to create core strength, and how to, like, I get the question, like, how do I sleep properly at nighttime? Like, okay, well, this is what you'd want to do to sleep. So you just go on there. There's people for scoliosis. Like, how do I do that? Like, if I have this type of scoliosis, how do I correct that? And, well, I have exercises that I give people, and I put them all on the YouTube channel. So it's all on there. It's starting to make practice a lot easier because, as you could imagine, I can say, hey, look, this is what you got to do. And it's very helpful for my patients.
I love it. Awesome. So you definitely can check out the YouTube channel. Also, if you want to connect with Dr. Singer, go to his website. He even has a special where you can connect. You can have a free intro call with him. singerchiropracticwellness.com/special. You can view all this if you're listening to the audio version. Also, it'll be on our Facebook page as well. Rise Up for You. Well, Dr. Singer, we love to ask kind of a closing question, and it's something we ask everyone, and everyone gives us a unique answer, which we love. What does Rise Up for You mean to you?
Yeah. So when I heard that title, it sounds like, okay, what is what I have to do to get to whatever my next level is, right? I think about, the old adage, you're either growing or you're dying, right? There's no kind of like maintaining. So you have to do something every single day that's going to push you to your next level. And that's obviously different for every single person. And then when I'm looking at the for you part of it, I'm seeing, okay, well, there's the you as in yourself, but then you could say, okay, for you, like somebody else. So what are you doing for yourself that will build yourself up so that you could either inspire or influence another person to rise with you? So that's what I see with it.
Yeah, I love that. Like, how can I build myself? Because then I can give to others when I feel good from a health standpoint, from a mental standpoint, from a nervous system, like all of my body is aligned. I can literally give to myself, and then I can help you and you and you. And together we can, grow and live our best lives.
Yeah. And you could do it for yourself, but also just you being yourself and your best self creates a mentor or a model that another person can just see, and I happen to know you personally, and I know that people look up to you and they say, wow, look at what Lauren's doing. Like, she's such a inspiration. And just having that inspiration, I think that's a powerful thing in life, where you could inspire other people to just be better versions of themselves. Not to say that you're so great or I'm so great or whatever. It's just like, hey, let's all go out this life at 100% and try to live our best lives.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Because energy matters, right? So when we feel good and we give off good energy, it could be something that somebody else needed that day. Not only does it do good for us, it does good for others. Well, Dr. Singer, thank you for being on the podcast today. It's been great to have you.
Yeah, you're awesome, Lauren. Thank you for having me. And this is a great platform I'm so happy that you guys have this, and for people to just do exactly what we just talked about, right? Living their best life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then influencing others or supporting others, even if you gained one tip or you want to go check out more tips or whatever it is, one little shift can make such a difference. So thank you for being here today.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Wasn't that great? Just those little shifts, those little reminders of looking for the gratitude. I know I need that. Even what he said earlier about knowing that everything that's happening is happening maybe for a reason, or it's not, a detriment, but there could be good in it too. I love that. Well, thank you for being on the podcast today. Thank you for listening to us live or watching us on our webinar series. It's been my privilege to be your host today. I also want to let you know that if you're listening to this in real time, it's September 2021, and we are running a public speaking cohort. So if that's something that interests you, how do I get better on video? How do I get better at leading a meeting? How do I get my message out there? Go ahead and text 949-416-0671. Text the words public speaking, 2 words, to that number, and we will send you the link. As always, it's a pleasure being your host, and we will see you next time on the Become Your Best podcast and webinar series.